Very strong.
Malolei Soifua Ria Bond.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm happy to rise and take this call on behalf of New Zealand First to speak on the 2015 budget. I have heard since last Thursday this budget described in various ways, shapes and forms, from split ends to a budget that National has delivered by delivering a sudden raid on KiwiSaver by abolishing the $1,000 kickstart. This came without any warnings, and it is outright mean to introduce a retrospective law and that did not give New Zealanders the time to register and take advantage of the Kickstart program. Mr Speaker, I've heard from the government that economically we are heading in the right direction, that a budget surplus will be found in 2017. Yeah, right. This sounds more like a Toys ad, except the pig just flew right past it. What happened to our rockstar economy? Where are the rock stars now? Mr Speaker, we all know that Auckland and Christchurch have their own rockstar standout economic status, but this is not caused in the case of Auckland by massive corporates relocating head offices here. It is caused by Auckland acting like an economic vampire. It is sucking the life out of the regions to fuel Auckland's growth. Lurking in the shadows are the smaller regions who don't share this National Party's love. Just think the word national, which is meant to include Northland, Gisborne, Manawatu, Whanganui, Wairarapa, Hawke's Bay, West Coast and Otago. These regions have all natural assets going for them except one, love from the central government. Gisborne, for instance, has the smallest contribution to New Zealand's GDP at only 0.7%. Why? Well, I'll tell you what. A new rail line would help at a fraction of the cost of Len Brown's train set. Where is the help to grow Gisborne in this 2015 budget? It's zilch. In that budget, Mr Speaker. Let's look at the regions that are currently performing in the spotlight: Southland, Waikato, Mid-Canterbury, Taranaki. These regions are facing factors that could drag them down, like the doubt around Tiwai aluminium smelter, falling dairying prices, falling oil prices, falling timber prices and a strong New Zealand dollar. Mr Speaker, I think it's safe to declare that we have in fact come off the rockstar peak as a country. As my colleague Dennis O'Rourke recently said, we need an inquiry into sea freight, road and rail. He cited one company in Taranaki that may have to leave the region because it's lost its container services. And guess where they are going to be ending up? A lot has changed in the way we now no longer add value to our export commodities, like sending raw logs offshore, unprocessed fish offshore. Milk powder as ingredients is value add, but not if the processors are overseas owned, right along with the farms. Where and what happened to small businesses in this year's budget? This budget is surprisingly light on initiatives to support the vital small business sector, which makes up 96.5% of all businesses in our country. SMEs employ 754,820 employees. Small businesses contribute to nearly 30% of New Zealand's GDP. There is no doubt that small business really is in fact big business. If we count family farms, they contribute most of our exports too. Big things, Mr Speaker, do come in small packages. Small businesses are known for being the safety net and the backbone to this country's economy. This budget does not put cash back into owners' pockets, does not help improve the movement of retaining skilled workers, has no incentive to close the productivity gap. Why? In the last 40 years, has New Zealand's GDP per capita slipped from 20% above the OECD average to now being approximately 30% below. We are slipping down the productivity ladder, Mr Speaker. We as a country need the government to help SMEs. A strong focus on the budget should have been to help SMEs fight their way up the OECD ladder. This budget has been rather underwhelming for SMEs. Mr Speaker, I'll tell you where this budget failed to deliver, and that's to small businesses. It does not tackle the market failures because there has been no funding allocated in the 2015 budget. The government needs to understand the characteristics of small and medium-sized businesses, which determines their success. Again, I don't see this evident in this government's 2015 budget. I'd like to suggest this government has taken a shotgun approach with this budget, but they haven't loaded a shot to grow small businesses. I know, Mr. Speaker, SMEs have been left wanting more from the government's budget. They wanted to see more specific policies that recognise the importance of growing the vital sector of the economy. I know that SMEs in Invercargill will be looking to the government to provide them with reduced bureaucracy, reduced compliance costs, and things that will make an immediate difference across the board. Is this the government's plan for the RMA? New Zealand First wants to see your plans and proposals for the RMA reforms, along with the rest of the country, especially the things impacting homeowners, businesses and farmers. Small businesses concerned that workplace safety reforms will see them responsible for an electrician injuring themselves on their work site, because at that point in time, the electrician will be considered an employee. In Australia, these stifling health and safety laws are so stifling that one church had cancelled its weekly food service for homeless people because there is a risk that someone could get sick from the surplus food. This budget did not invite any stimulation at all. In fact, according to the latest MYOB survey, it says 71% of SMEs operators thought small businesses should have received more attention, especially in the retail and hospitality sectors. When I walk around Invercargill and count how many empty shops there are in the central city area, I'm concerned, I'm really concerned. One only has to scratch below the surface to see there are cracks in the government's budget even before it was delivered. While Mr Key talks up Air New Zealand, it is a monopoly in Invercargill and acts like a monopoly. Westport, Kataia and Whakatane, they know what I know, they know what I mean. Then we turn to the lack of funding for roads, despite Southland being key to New Zealand's tourism's offer as it is to the exports we generate on and off farms. I cannot finish without saying we need core services like policing and health, yet Bluff has lost a third of its police presence, while the Southland DHB, it gets crumbs. So much so, our crumbs will come down from Auckland to be reheated. Sadly, the jobs it will cost, they can't be reheated. Mr Speaker, it's a sad day. It's a sad day when even the Treasury recognises a surplus from Bill English has become a forlorn hope, pushing the estimates to 2019. This government has mastered the skill of switching small sums around to give people of New Zealand an illusion, or should I say deception. This projected surplus will come from prudent management of the economy, and that it comes from raiding KiwiSaver and the future prosperity of our children. Thank you.
Malole Soifua, Jackie Dean.
Mr Speaker,